All right, so let's take a look at the answers to this. So for the derivative of 2x, we have 2. And for its antiderivative, we have x squared, because the derivative of x squared is 2x. For 3x squared, its antiderivative is x cubed, and its derivative is 6x. For x to the 7th, its derivative is 7x to the 6th. Now, note that when we do the antiderivative, we want a function whose derivative will give this. Now, we do know that it needs to go up a degree, but we know that when we take the derivative, it needs to become that function. So we know it's x to the 8th, but we have to put something in front of the x to the 8th in order for it to become just x to the 7th. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide by the power. So this is essentially 1/8 x to the 8th. That way, when I take its derivative, that 8 as that power will multiply to the 1/8, giving me just x to the 7th. For square root of x, remember, square root of x is x to the 1/2 power. So its derivative will go down 1 degree. Its power will come out front, become negative 1/2, which can also be written as 1/2 rad x. And its antiderivative will increase a power, so it will become 3/2, and then we will divide by 3/2, which mathematically is 2/3 x to the 3/2. For the cube root of x, remember that's x to the 1/3 power. We take the derivative, it drops down a degree, so this is 1/3 x to the negative 2/3. Or we could write it as 1/3 cube root of x squared. And then to do its antiderivative, we want to go up a degree. So it will be 4/3 divided by 4/3, which is mathematically 3/4 x to the 4/3. And then for 1/x, remember that is x to the negative first. So that's negative x to the negative second, or negative 1/x squared. And its antiderivative, if you remember from our flashcards, is ln of x. But we have to be careful here because we're going backwards, we know that the derivative of 1/x, and we know that 1/x can take in both positives and negatives, but ln x can only take in positives. So we're actually going to say its antiderivative is ln of absolute value of x. That way we force the signs to work. For e to the x, we know its derivative is e to the x, and we also know its antiderivative is e to the x. For e to the 5x, we know its derivative is e to the 5x times derivative of 5x, chain rule, so it's 5e to the 5x. And then for its antiderivative, we're going to do almost the same thing, but instead of multiplying by 5, we're going to divide by 5, so 1/5. And then for 3 to the x, remember its derivative is 3 to the x, ln 3. And so for its antiderivative, we're going to do the exact opposite. We'll divide by ln of 3. And then this next one is very similar to the previous ones. It just has two terms. Its derivative is 6x squared minus 4. And then its antiderivative is going to be, let's see, x to the 4th. And then we know this is 1/2 minus 2x squared. And that's because 4 times 1/2 is 2, and then 2 times 2 is 4. And then for sine of x, its derivative is cosine x. And the derivative of cosine is negative sine x. And then its antiderivative for sine x is going to be negative cosine x. And then the antiderivative for cosine x is sine x. Then the derivative, we also know, of tangent x is secant squared x, so that's the antiderivative. And then for secant squared x, to take the derivative, we're going to apply the chain rule. So we get outside function is squared, so we get 2 secant x. And then the derivative of our inside function, which is secant x tangent x. So this becomes 2 secant squared x tangent x, and that will be our derivative there. Now, one thing we do need to pay attention to is when we take antiderivatives, antiderivatives are never unique. Now, what do I mean when I say that? Well, what I mean is, if I take a look at this first row here, this x squared as the antiderivative of 2x, I could also claim that x squared plus 3 is also the antiderivative of 2x, because when I take the derivative of x squared plus 3, I also get 2x. I could also have x squared minus 10, or x squared plus 52. All of those will have a derivative of 2x. So in the case of these problems, when we find the antiderivative, we will always say that the antiderivative is that function we found plus some constant. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to add that constant to every single one of our antiderivatives. Because, well, the derivative of constant is 0, so we don't actually know what our unique function is here.